right, I'm here with Promoter Larry Wainstein of Boxing 5 Promotions, just to discuss May the 24th at Carnival City. We discussed off camera right now that ticket sales are going really good so far.
Going nicely, yeah.
And what's your take on the tournament as a whole?
Obviously, from my side, I think it's a hell of a card. A lot of good fighters on the bill. Very difficult to choose which fight you think is going to be, fight of the night, or one of the better fights. But they all come with a bit of something with them, and I think it'll be great for the sport of boxing.
A nice balance on the bill. Let's actually, when we talk about balance, it's the IBF titles. There's 3 of them officially confirmed. 2 IBF Africas and an IBF Youth title. Let's start there. IBF all over the show. How does that feel?
No, I think it's been good. We sort of have done one, and now we just, because we've got the fighters that can qualify for that IBF titles and the youth, we then thought, let's put it all on in one show. Because we were competing with the 24th date to put on a big show, and we thought, let's go big.
And of course, I think the expectation would have been IBF Africa, but we happen to have an IBF as well. Ishmael Kadri fighting for that belt. It's nice to see the youngsters also getting belts.
Well, that's what you try and do when they come out of the 8th round or 6 rounders, or they seem to be of a caliber that the fights can get sanctioned. We have to give them the chance. It's no good taking them another year and saying, okay, next year, let's do it. What else are they going to do? Just every fight is just going to be a fight, and then you can see how good they are.
They're all got really strong opponents. I mean, looking at Kadri's opponents, 7 wins, 2 losses. He also has got a good punch on him as well.
Yeah.
Then you've got Kanisa, who's fighting Lucky Munyubani, fantastic fighter.
Yeah.
And then, of course, another fight, we have Frank Sotomela fighting Theo from the Eastern Cape. Good fights.
Yes, no, they are good fights. That's one thing about Boxing 5. We try and put on good fights. And we want them to go the rounds, because how else do you test your guys to see how good they are?
All right, and then 2 international contests, Sequence, Siko, and of course he'll be fighting a man from the Philippines, and of course Lorato Glamini is fighting a man from Thailand. What do you think of those ones?
Well, those 2 fighters are world class, so you got to match them against world class fighters, because Lorato hasn't fought since Japan, and Sequence hasn't fought since last year. So you've got to try and get them going to get them into the race. And that's our plan, and that's why we thought, let's put them on.
It's amazing that you can get those guys on as well, because many people perceive those guys as sort of international fighters, as you mentioned as well, but fighting abroad. But they both need to come back with a win.
They do have to come back for the win, although Sequence won his last fight, so he did get a keep busy fight, but it didn't do much for him in the ratings, but yet the fighter that he lost to is challenging for a 2nd time for the world title, and he lost by split decision, and whatever the decision wasn't a great one.
Right, and that just sort of solidifies him, but I mean, I'm sure he's going to be mixing it up there in those companies in short time as well.
No, we got to start pushing him, and Colin's working on getting him into the ratings and looking for an eliminator or a title fight.
All right, and the 2 young fighters, Duron and Joshua Feldman, what's your thoughts on those 2 young fighters?
I must say, you're looking at Josh, and Josh has been busy, which has been nice for him, and he just seems to be getting better and better, and he's matured a lot. From the first tournament we put him on to now, he's a different fighter.
And I know everyone loves the box camp, but of course there's a lot of excitement around the announcement of fighting at Carnival City. How was the, let's say, negotiations and everything that went on with that team?
Well, it's we started off with them, and it's been a while that we're trying to fit in, because now we're trying to put our tournaments on, and they get other events, musical events, but they want to get back into boxing. So it's been a little bit difficult, to tie them down, but we've tied them down now for 2 dates. And as we go along, these tournaments will be, the ones that we look at with the sort of fighters going, trying to get them rated and all of that, and then go back to box camp for the development ones. And the guy that I also didn't mention is Daron. I mean, he's also, when you see him in sparring, dedicated. He actually is amazing. I think he's going to do well.
You You mentioned, yeah, it's to the young fighters. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see opening the card as well. Is, you know, the next generation, and then you get into the real serious stuff. So fans have it all on the cards to look forward to.
And then, of course, we mustn't forget about Hamza, the young boy.
That's right.
On his debut. Imagine doing your debut fight at Carnival City.
Yes, if you could just explain to the fans out there why Hamza got included on this card.
So, you know, what happened was, and I think I mentioned it when we introduced this before, when it came to the weigh-in for the development tournament, we had 10 fights on, and the two brothers were fighting. And what happened was his fighter, when it came to the weigh-in, we were told his fighter can't fight because his license hasn't been paid for. You know, it's just, I mean, the guy's been fighting, he's all excited, everyone's on, and now we get told that on the day of the weigh-in. And we couldn't pay for it, which was a little bit harsh, because, I mean, I don't think any of the fighters had been given a go-ahead and said you're licensed, because it was still being approved, but they let it go. You know, so, but because he hadn't paid the 600 rand, the fight was put off, and I can understand that, but when you said, well, can we not sort out the no, you can't pay the 600 rand. Not, you know, you've got to do things, and I don't say bend the rules, but those are things, it's a 4-rounder, the kid would have fought, and you can imagine the disappointment. You know, you've got 10 new fighters fighting, or 8 and 2 that had fights, and you've got to tell the one boy, sorry, you're not fighting. And he brought spectators, him and his brother. Anyway, I said to Colin, don't worry, let's just put him on our 24th bill. It's a 4-rounder. And he's on.
Well, he might have struck a little bit of luck there in getting on the big tournament there, featuring all these big names. Of course, you mentioned there was going to be a development tournament coming up after this one, but I did see there was an announcement on social media regarding August 23rd, which will take place at Carnival City. Are you happy that you secured the SA heavyweight title fight?
It was always going to be our fight. I mean, we've been with Potties, and Potties has been with us when he started at the box camp. We were the one who gave him a chance. We got him back into it. Yes, he's done hell of a well. And obviously, when he fought for the SA title, because it was Golden Gloves fighter, we couldn't say, oh, we want to put him on us. We let him go, which we do. We let our boxers fight. And he performed outstandingly well. You know, and then he went to Australia, which wasn't a good move, because we know the history behind that. But and I've been promising Chris a fight on our tournament. Every time we've gone to Chris and say, Chris, what do you do? Now I'm going here and I'm going there. He's busy. He keeps himself busy because he has to do that. You know. So then when it came to the call outs on each one, I saw people all getting busy and saying, oh, I'll send you a contract. I'll do this. I'll do that. Okay, no problem. So we said, let's just put it in and make sure nobody's going to steal this title from us. It's our fighter, our title fight, and you've got Shannon and Gert, both trainers that work with us. Why shouldn't it be ours?
Yeah, that's going to be a tournament for another day that we're going to discuss, and I can't wait to get into it, because it's father versus son, which is going to cause a great bit of history there. But just going back to May 24th, a debut at Carnival City, 3 titles on the line. Also, it's a big occasion for Boxing 5 Promotions.
It definitely is. You know, we haven't done a big one like this. We've always had maybe 2 fighters, but the last big one we did was we had 4 top fighters on at the conference center, at Eunice's conference center. And since then we haven't put any others on. But we thought this time, because we promised South Africa we're going to put on the homecoming for Kavu, and we had to disappoint them, we thought we won't disappoint them when we put on a show.
How do you feel about that? I mean, obviously it was a huge, even the dates, everything was, set around Kavu. He then lands a massive opportunity to fight Jesse Bam Rodriguez. I mean, this is making fighters' dreams. It's a beautiful one, isn't it?
No, it is. And obviously we were given the option with Mr. Honda to do the fight events here. And again, I've got to say, and I've mentioned it over and over, we can't pay the fighters, the top fighters, what they deserve. And to defend a WBO world title, you're entitled to earn money. Although the purse had already been agreed with Kavu. And then when this offer came in and you looked at the two, I was embarrassed at what they offered him and what we were able to pay. And he understood, and that's the one thing, it wasn't on. He was so happy that he was fighting his home crowd. He was prepared to take that. But when the offer came in, it was embarrassing, but we were proud that he was offered that, and we had to take it.
All right, and that's going to be exciting to look forward to. Larry, anything lastly that you want to add?
No, I think I think boxing's doing nicely. Guys are getting fights. So from our point of view, we just want to obviously who do we thank? We want to thank our sponsors. We've got a new sponsor on board for Fight of the Night, Resultant Finance. We also Dr. Gadu Degama sponsors the guy making the noise in my ear. It's making us a bit loud.
Yeah.
And he was over the moon to come on and sponsor the Fight of the Night. And he supported Kat unbelievably, and he's been supporting us as we're going along. And he said to us after the last one, don't worry, we're family and I'll be there. And he has, and he's a hell of a good guy, and his company's good. And that's exactly, what we're looking for. And he's stood up and be counted, and he's bought tickets for all his people, and he's won. And then obviously we've got our friends from Middelburg, which is Middelburg, Stephen Peterson, his company, Prop Shaft Center Middelburg. He's always been with us on a basis, so he came to the party, even though he's got fighters on, and he's always been with Boxing 5, which is we're thankful for. And then we've got our loyal sponsor, Penguin, back in the fold, because without them, without these sponsors, we wouldn't be able to put on the show. That's where we are. And let me not forget GVSC.
GVSC. Thank you so much, Larry. And obviously, you mentioned Katlego Kanyisa making noise in the background. So if anyone does hear a couple of punches here and there, it's his fault.
Yeah, but he's allowed to. He's in camp. And it's time. We're 2 weeks to go. So this is what happens. And let's just see. I hope it's a great evening. Thanks to all the fans for supporting us.
100%. We'll see you all there at Carnival City on May 24th. Don't miss it.